Hello everybody, Lawrence Fleming here again. We have a lot of things coming at us all at once, all around us. And this isn't even the tribulation time frame. It's just getting busy. God will not forget us. He's going to come back and save us through the rapture from what the devil's going to try to do to us. But we're going to see a lot of the beginnings of the reign of the Antichrist. They're going to be started. You can't just turn these things on. They have to be set up and prepared. So we're going to see a lot of it. And most of it is not going to affect us greatly. Now, we're being affected by the pricing, but the pricing is not the one warned about. A day's wage for a loaf of bread, essentially. We're not there yet. It's painful to a degree, but we're not there yet. So don't get tired of waiting, and don't look around and go, God doesn't care about us. Look what's happening. We've been forgotten. Don't be like the Thessalonians after Paul wrote his first letter, and then he heard that they thought they missed the rapture. It's tough times, and they're going to get tougher. But we can endure, and it's not coming on all at once. It's gradually building. So we get a chance to get used to each level. It's the frog in the boiling water scenario. We would jump out. We would stop it if it came on all at once. So it's just ratcheting it up. And that's part of the mentality of the progressives, the left. It's called nudging. Just nudge it a little bit along. Push it until we complain so much that we're about ready to throw it in and then back it down a little bit. And when you back it down a little bit, you're controlling the increase, but when you back it down, then you come in and you say, I controlled that for you. I did that for you. But you also ratcheted it up, but you don't claim that part of it. You only claim the part where you ratchet it back down so that we say, oh, thank you, almighty government, for helping us. Okay, but God won't give up on us at all. He's going to do everything he can to help us to endure. We have to complete our mission, and God has to complete his. When we're done with ours, then here hand the keys to Satan and tell the four angels to back away and let the winds blow. But until then, we have to put up with whatever the world's dealing with right now because we're in the world. This is not our home. Don't put your money in it. At this point in time, unless you're already in the process, I wouldn't make any major investments because there is going to be a crash. And it's not going to be worth anything. If you buy a house now, in a year, it may not be worth a third of what if you paid for it. And then you're in the hole. And over time, things will recover. We're in the end times. There's no time for recovery. So what I'm doing now, I'm a representation to you of what you should be doing with your life. Not having a video and talking, but I'm living out of a tent. I'm camping. This is not my home. So I don't own a house. I have, but right now I don't. My car is paid for, but it's getting to its last legs. If I was still in the world, I'd buy a new car. But I'm not. As long as it keeps running, God will have to keep it running. The angels have to get out and push once in a while. Now, it's still in good shape, but it's got things going wrong that I need to put a little bit of attention to, but not a lot. And I'm not going to buy a new car, and I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not even renting right now. Now, I was staying with my son, so just so you know, I'm only, quote, homeless by definition because I want to be. I enjoy this. I was a scoutmaster for years, so I'm very familiar with how to camp. And frankly, I'm camping in luxury right now because I have an air conditioning unit. If I want, I could go get my microwave. I've got all kinds of things that I can make this really nice on. But I'm also doing some sacrifices. I'm doing fasting things, so I don't need everything that I've got. I've still got 4 or 5 bins worth of camping stuff in the storage unit that I'm not using. I'm being a minimalist right now because I don't need a whole lot. All right, let's take a look at what God will do for us and how he cares for us. I'm going to start off in Revelation 2:13, and this is where we're getting the revelation to the 7 churches. And we're going to look at chapter 2, verse 8. And I always like to start a little bit ahead of time so you get the context. And the angel of the church in Smyrna write, "These things says the first and the last, who was dead and who came to life, Jesus. I know your works, tribulation, and poverty, but you are rich," bracketed. "And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan." There's been a lot of that going on. This was written back in John's time when these churches existed, but really it's for the 144,000 in us to read. "Do not fear any of those things which you are about to suffer. Indeed, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison, that you may be tested, and you will have tribulation for 10 days. Be faithful until death, and I will give you a crown of life." God knows what we're dealing with. The sun coming in behind me. I'm trying to move my camera. Excuse me. It was cute when they had little rays coming out of my previous video, but I don't need to have light shown on me, so we're just keep moving this. But you can see the sun on the side of my face. I always have the sun with me no matter where I go, but that's a different subject. Okay, so if you suffer for Christ, you've got a crown waiting for you. So he's going to look out for us. And now I want to turn to Matthew and tell you why you don't need to be putting a lot of effort into this. Not at the end times now, you don't need to. Let's look at Matthew 6:19. "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal." Thieves can't get into heaven. They've got another place. "And where also your treasure is, there your heart is also." And I'm just going to read a couple other verses here. "The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body is full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness?" So anyhow, we've got light from the sun to light our way. Verse 24, "No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon." How do you say that? Mammum? Yeah, mammum. That's the actual Greek word, for riches. So, and in verse 25, "Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on it. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air, for neither they sow nor reap, nor gather in the barns, yet the heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valuable than they? Which of you, by worrying, can add 1 cubit to his stature?" You can't do anything by worrying about it. Trust God. That's all you got to do. Faith in him. He won't disappoint. And if you haven't been doing that, start doing this. Trusting in him, because he will satisfy all your needs. When I'm out here, I get by on a minimal amount. That's why I've tried not to ask for donations. I don't want to be in comfort to the point where I don't suffer for God to a degree. I'm not suffering, this is fun, but I don't want fancy things that will rust and someone may steal. Now, the air conditioning unit was a need because it's been 110 sometimes in a very high, humid climate. That's potentially deadly, but at minimum, it's uncomfortable. It's hard to concentrate, and I was having trouble concentrating on my lessons, so God graciously helped me out, but not without a little discomfort on the side. All right. So while you're trying to get things organized for living here on earth, let's turn over to 7:7 in Matthew. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. God owns everything. He is the richest being, or person if you want to look at Jesus, on the face of the earth. Satan might be number 2, but Jesus is well ahead of him. So if you have any needs, if you've got $10,000 in your pocket and a kid comes up to you and asks you for $1, are you going to worry about giving the kid $1? Not at all. It's a pleasure, especially to see the smiling kid running away with the $1, heading for the ice cream truck or whatever it is. It's so easy for us to do, but we find it hard to believe God can do the same thing and much more. And he has a true love for us where we work at that. We don't have the ability to love fully like God does. Okay, here comes our camp host checking on us. Yep. They patrol this stuff. If you go out west and you're solo camping, you might have some trouble that you got to pay attention to, like bears. There's no bears around here. There might be some bad people, but they patrol this area awful lot. I had a deer about 20 yards to my left this morning when I got up. He just stood there eating while I watched him. And I took one step in his direction and he took off, but that's good. They need to fear man, because people will hurt him. Okay. So anyhow, Jesus told all these stories. Well, Peter sat around and listened to all these stories. So when he's doing his letters, 1st and 2nd Peter, he's telling us firsthand what he heard from Jesus. So let's do 2 Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens will pass away in a great noise, and the elements will melt with fervent heat. Both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. All your things that you work so hard to get are going to be burned up. This is not your home. Don't put your faith, your money, and your hopes into it. Get what you need. Therefore, since all these things will be dissolved, in verse 11, what manner of persons ought you to be in holy conduct and godliness, looking for the hastening coming of the day of God, because of which the heavens will be dissolved, being on fire, and the elements will melt in fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth in which the righteous dwells. So we've got a new heaven and a new earth coming. And if you want to see what's going to happen to this one, read Revelation 6. It's not good. Revelation is not in order, by the way. The order of the seals, the bowls, the trumpets, that kind of stuff, those individual items are in order. But the order of the book of Revelation is not linear. Some chapters speak about this, other chapters come in and speak about something else, and there may be some overlap. You got to study the book of Revelation in its entirety, in depth, with a good teacher. There's so much going on right now that's bad teaching. Somebody says something years ago, 40, 50 years ago, or even 150 years ago, and they just keep re-quoting it without going back and investigating it. Now, I've said before, the life of Christ matches the Galilean wedding, but we're not going, in the rapture, we're not going to a wedding feast. We're going to work. Now, what kind of work? Easy work, don't worry about it. And we'll be well equipped for it. We'll get our new bodies and we'll be able to do what we need to do. But we're not going to go up there to have a wedding feast. One, it would be inappropriate to be celebrating while the world's down here being destroyed and Christians are being martyred. That would not be good. Besides, it's not the complete body of Christ. There will be a wedding feast, but not until the very end, and it will be in the New Jerusalem. When the new heavens, the new earth are created, and the New Jerusalem comes down, that's when there will be the wedding feast. And let me see if I can find where that's at while we're talking, because that would be more appropriate. One, all the Christians are there. Where is that at? It's at the very end, in the end chapter. Okay. Okay, they're describing the New Jerusalem, Revelation 21:9. And there's 12 foundations, construction, walls of jasper. That'd be a very pretty city. But I saw no temple, nor Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. The city had no need for sun or moon to shine in it, for the glory of God illuminated it. The Lamb is its light. The nations are those who are saved shall walk in its light, and the kings of the earth bring their glory and honor to it. Its gates shall not be shut at all by day. There shall be no night here. And there shall bring the glory and honor to the nations, but there shall be no means to enter it, to enter anything that defiles or causes an abomination or a lie, but only those who are written in the book of life. The new city will be pretty, but I'm trying to find out where there's a point where they say, you know, well, let's see. Behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me. That's when the Bema Seat judgment is. There's not going to be a reward for the rapture group. That's not how this works. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are those who do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates of the city. But outside are dogs and sorcerers and sexually immoral and murderers and idolaters, whoever loves the practices of lies. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, come. I guess this is part of it. The Spirit and the bride say, see, that's the end of Revelation. The bride is up there, or in the city. And let him who hears come. Let him who thirsts come. Whoever desires, let him take the water of life freely. So the party is at the end, when everyone can celebrate, and when there will be no more suffering for those that are God's chosen. What are we doing? Got somebody looking in here. I don't know where they are. I kind of keep an eye on this place when sometimes people show up that aren't supposed to be here, and they just come in and start setting up, and it's like, you can't do that. This is a state park. This isn't your city park where you just drive in and set up a picnic table. You got to have permission to be here. Sort of like the kingdom of God. All right. God is going to take care of us. But there's work to be done. There are different groups of people. We have the kings and priests, we have worshipers, and there's a catch-all at the end. I don't know what you call it, but we're going to be in one of those groups. And if you're not prepared to do it, don't worry. God will prepare you. We're going to all have heavenly bodies because we're going to have to be in heaven. And we will be there through the duration of the tribulation time frame. But at the end, we'll come back. We'll come back with Jesus and the angels and us for the final battle. We'll come back for the second coming. Then there's Armageddon after the millennium. There's going to be plenty of work to do, plenty of people that need help. During the millennium, I don't think we have to worry about the first generation. We'll probably be sitting around counting petals on flowers or something while we're waiting for somebody to sin so we can console them and tell them that's not the way to do things. It's the next generation or two. That seems how it is. You teach people how to be right, and if they get it from the source, they remember it. But if it's secondhand, they don't always put it to heart. And then, because we're still here on earth, people are going to still have earthly bodies and still want to do earthly things and earthly sin. So those are the ones that we're going to have our hands full with. Sort of like when the cousins come over and some are easy to get along with and some aren't. Parents have their handful. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to help. I don't know exactly how we're going to help. We're going to have a bowl, a golden bowl full of the prayers of the saints. If we're in the first group, I think we will. We might even have a harp. Can I get an electric one? And a couple of fuzz boxes. Play some rock music on a harp. I've actually heard it. But we're going to have a good time. We're going to be happy. We're going to be full of joy. And we're going to get to help people and pass that on. Who can't be excited about that? We're not going to go sit off by ourselves on a cloud and just play a harp. That's dumb and boring. That's how the earth paints heaven, because if they painted it really, really good, you'd want to go there. Who wants to go to heaven, just sit on a cloud by ourselves and play a harp? That's why the earth doesn't show it in a good light. But we're going to be happy we're there. The people that are already there ahead of us are happy now. So if you're missing a loved one, and I have a number that I'm missing, if they're up there with Jesus, they're happy. So be happy with them. I don't know if they can hear us or not. I don't know why they couldn't. But I don't know how much we remember. I really don't. I don't want to remember my sinful life on this planet. I hope it's gone when we get to heaven. I don't want to be reminded. Satan constantly reminds us of our sinful life. And he's already told God about it, but Jesus is there as our advocate, so God doesn't hear about it. Because Satan has to go through Jesus to get to God. At least when he tattletales on us. Or if he tells him directly, Satan just says, oh, it's no deal, no big deal. Already taken care of. Get out of here, Satan. We don't have to worry. We're going to be happy. We have work to do. The wedding feast is at the end. The end of everything. The end of millennium, at the very end, in the last book of the Bible. The New Jerusalem, which looks to be very, very gorgeous. I don't know a proper word for it. It is stunning, I guess would be a good word. All right, until we meet in the clouds, guys. Thank you for your prayers. If you haven't liked or subscribed us, please do. I get a lot more views than I do likes. If you watch this video, you should be clicking the like button. It costs you nothing, but it helps a lot for YouTube to know how to place it. And subscribe. That way you can hear about new videos. All right, till we meet in the clouds, God bless. There's some of the wildlife. See if I can find the other deer. There's two of them out here. The one, he's in behind. There they are. Now I have this on Zoom, but they're probably 20 yards away. Beautiful area.